Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Melanin MVP. Today I am joined by L'Oreal Gamble, who is the owner of both a women's basketball club and a women's basketball league based in my backyard here in Raleigh, North Carolina. L'Oreal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I really want to start talk about your time at Fayetteville State University.
Mhm.
Fayetteville notoriously has one like per capita the most black-owned businesses in the United States. So I think it's interesting that your journey started in Fayetteville at that college. Talk to me about your college experience and how that transitioned to you wanting to stay in the women's sports space after you graduated.
Right out of high school, I went to Southeast Raleigh High. After graduating, I went to UNC Pembroke my first year of college, and the style of basketball just wasn't for me. So I transferred to Fayetteville State, whom was also recruiting me at the same time as Pembroke, but Pembroke had a little bit more to offer. So I transferred to Fayetteville State, and basketball for me there really thrived and flourished. I won Female Athlete of the Year, all CIAA tournament, MVP, won the CIAA championship. I got inducted into the Hall of Fame of Fayetteville State in 2021. So my career really began with Fayetteville State. So it's an honor to be a Bronco and really show my Bronco pride. And I'm still very active with the women's program. So that's not going anywhere. I truly love my school.
In terms of the style of play, say more about that. Why wasn't the style of play for you at UNC Pembroke, and what kind of worked and what started to click when you went to Fayetteville State?
So coming out of Southeast Raleigh, we are an aggressive basketball program. We push athletes on it, and I'm still active with this program as well. I'm an assistant coach on the team as we speak. We push the athletes to be the best versions of themselves. We run a lot. We really get down and dirty defensively because we pick up full court, and we've been that way. When I was at Southeast, we ran like a cross country team, so we were in shape enough to press full court man to man the entire game. So we would wear teams down. And at Pembroke, it was more about running sets and plays, and some things just came second nature to me that I didn't need to play for. And my parents saw that and they pushed me to transfer. And I'm glad that they did because I wanted to give Pembroke one more shot, as in returning my sophomore season. But my dad is like, no, you need to go to Fayetteville State because the CIAA is known for being a great conference for Black children, HBCUs, and the basketball is just great. The atmosphere is great. So I'm glad I went to Fayetteville State because that style of play was very similar to what I was accustomed to at Southeast Raleigh. And yeah, the accolades show that was the atmosphere I needed to be in.
When I look at the draft, not just this past year in 2025, but also in 2024, there have been some HBCU women basketball athletes that have gone into the WNBA draft. To my knowledge and understanding, none of them have lasted past training camp. And some of them had incredible careers. I think that George Mason had a really great season up in DC. We saw a couple other schools that did really well that were able to at least get somebody on draft, but
Yes.
not past training camp. Do you have any insight into why that is? Why the HBCU girlies just have a little more of a difficult time getting picked up by professional teams?
The WNBA, being the best women's league in the world, has so many different athletes trying out for it, right? I really think that they stick behind their vets, which is great, but because of the lack in number of teams, it lowers the opportunity for those coming in. I don't think that it's fair for coaches and general managers to not give the HBCU girls a shot because they're just as good as a girl coming from a major D1. After graduating from Fayetteville State, I tried out for the Chicago Sky. I went to an open tryout they had, and I was supposed to get a call about training camp, but I never did. So, that's a downer for me. However, I went to play pro overseas, and some of the same girls that were in the training camp that I had made it, that we were all supposed to get a call, we're all overseas playing against each other. I think if they had more teams, it would create more opportunities, and then finally somebody could get a chance because the girl who just came out of Norfolk State, I really think that she could thrive in the W. Or the girl last year who graduated from JSU,
Y
I think she could do good in the W, but it's all about opportunity. So they really need to do a better job with that.
yeah, I think there's one, yes, a call for more expansion teams, but also more roster spots. They've had
Yeah.
even now with so many players going to, Eurobasket, so they're getting waived or, they're on hiatus from their teams. They've
Mhm.
seen some, roster spots open up, and it's been kind of like players they just waived, like, 2 weeks ago are now, like, coming back for, like, year-long hardship contracts. I'm like, "Y'all coulda
Yeah,
saved everybody some time by not sending them
right.
home." Not
Even waving like Diamond the Shields. It's crazy, but that just shows you how questioning some of the decisions are in the W.
to say the
So,
least.
yeah.
Cool. We don't have to go there. I wanna talk a little bit more about what happened after you didn't get picked up from the Chicago Sky and you went to play overseas. What are those conversations like? How do players end up overseas?
Most players have an agent. I did not have an agent. I actually started playing semi-pro in a league that used to be around called the WBCBL, and it really just gave me an opportunity to be active outside of playing pickup ball at the YMCA. And in the midst of being active, our coach was recording the games, and I had a teammate who was like a middleman for an agency. So she had sent them some film of myself, and I didn't know this. So I got a random email, and sometimes this can happen when you don't have an agent for players. You'll get a random email from a team that's interested in you, and you just got to take a chance. And that's exactly what I did. I went to Serbia my first year, and wow, was it an experience. I was the only American on my team, in my city, and in my league. Not only was I the only American, I was the only African American. So there were other import players, but nobody looked like me and sounded like me. So the culture shock was real. I stayed until Christmas break. I had an opportunity to go back, but I was just so overwhelmed with it all just because of the different things that I went through while I was there that I did not want to go back. And that really put into perspective for me was the overseas basketball life, something that I truly wanted. And ultimately it was because a friend of mine contacted me for the next season to go to Romania, but it was 4 Black girls on the team. So I was like, okay, I could do that. I'm never playing on a team again where I'm by myself. That's just a different type of grind. So I'm grateful for it. It teaches you a lot about yourself, but it definitely puts things into perspective. Like, how much do you truly love basketball?
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
When you came back to the States, how long did it take you to start your own league?
So the summer league has been around. This is year 4, but previous to it starting, so maybe 3 years before we actually got it off the ground, a friend and I had tried to start it. And the facility that we wanted to run our games in, they weren't really like faithful in the vision.
Mm,
So it took a lot to get it off the ground. It's more so the trust. But women's basketball is so good right now that people are just trying to grab at it and they don't even truly love it. And it's just like we've been here. We just need a gym. And my league got off the ground because I was just hosting pickup for women. It's like, let us get in the gym on a Friday night and let us just run. And it was like where the gym has 2 courts. We were running on both courts with people waiting. So I'm starting to have to put a cap at the amount of people who could come. And that's a blessing. Sometimes when you want to get girls in the gym, they got the most questions. Who's going to be there? What time? I got to get off work. I got to go get my kids. Whereas guys, they'll just come if you call them an hour ahead of pickup time. But the ladies came and they showed out, and the owners of the gym were like, okay, well, let's do it. And I'm like, yeah, I already got girls signed up for the league. I just need you to unlock the doors. So here we are going into year 4.
Okay. So basically, this is a vision that started roughly 7 years ago.
Yeah.
How much did it cost the first iteration of it? How does that work?
So you got to put into account the facility, the referees, jersey orders. Um, so I would say roughly each year, our expenses are about $3,500. But the players, when they register, their jerseys come with their registration, so that kind of pays for itself. And then we get donations and sponsors to pitch in, and that helps with additional costs.
Okay. Do you guys pay the players?
No,
Okay.
it's like recreational basketball.
Okay.
And we don't pay the players for the Raleigh Aces either. That's solely for the love of the game. Do I have ambitions of paying the players? Absolutely. But I need the help and the support to be able to do that from somebody who understands the vision as well.
Okay. Let's talk about some interesting leagues that have popped up. So there have been some 3x3 leagues that have popped up.
Hmm.
Arlen Hamilton, who used to be based out of Durham, but now I think lives in like DC.
Hmm.
She is one of the investors in the 3x3 league that has pulled in some of the recently graduated seniors that did make training contracts. So mini Turners, your Cheyenne Sellers, people like that
Hmm.
have been picked up and pulled into that league. And that seems to be something that, again, it's their first year. We'll see how it goes, but now that name recognition and it's fresh in everyone's mind, I think it's gonna.
Right.
What would a structure look like for you that feels reminiscent of that, that feels like something that will attract talent that maybe HBCU grads that didn't get picked up on a training camp or people who have been waived who are looking
Hmm.
for opportunity but don't want to wait until Athletes Unlimited in the spring. What does the future of that look like?
As far as 5-on-5 are concerned, oh well, it's all about putting people in the right position. Both of my basketball entities provide opportunity. And for people who have gotten waived, I would love for them to come play in my summer league because you just never know who's going to walk in the gym. I've gotten girls college scholarships from the summer league. I've gotten girls gigs to play overseas. I've even helped girls achieve additional confidence so that they can thrive in the leagues and conferences that they play in collegiately, and they've walked away with Player of the Year. I've even had moms come just to get cardio and just have the nostalgic moment of what they used to do and who they used to be and just feel good about themselves. I am also a mother of three. It feels good when I can see everybody having a good time and then the games are still competitive. As we continue to grow, if I can provide any type of opportunity for whatever that dynamic of woman is trying to achieve, that's my goal.
Let's talk about your experience as a coach
Okay.
because it sounds like you still are very heavily involved in your high school and college women's basketball teams. What was your transition from player to coach like?
I also still play. I play in the summer league and I play on the semi-pro team. So I think that plays a positive part for me as a coach because the players are like, okay, so you're still doing this and you're doing things that I want to do. So let me listen to you because you're a different voice outside of the head coach. The head coaches at Southeast Raleigh and Fayetteville State, the Southeast Raleigh head coach, she came in my senior year as an assistant coach. So I'm like one of her first babies as I can. At Fayetteville State, the coach there, he was a student when I was on the basketball team at Fayetteville State. And he was also men's basketball alumni. He played for the men's program. So we're very, very close as well. And they both know who I am. So they allow me to be my authentic self. And when I can pull a player to the side, give them a couple of gems to help them, and they grasp it and they grow in that moment and they understand, I think that that shows the player coach side. And some of the girls have, like Fayetteville State, will play pickup against each other. When I host pickup, they'll come and they'll be like, okay, so you do still play. And it's like, yeah, I'm not just talking your ear off. I'm telling you and showing you now what I'm saying. And it's the same for the high school girls because I participate in practice. And they'll be like, God. And it's like, yeah, like, come on. So it's rewarding, but it's also a moment of growth for the player and for me because it's like, if I really want to get into coaching, I can, but I'd rather just I sit on the end of the bench. I'd rather just be the last person's hand you shake. And I'll be like, hey, next time try this because this is why you got subbed out. And they'd be like, all right. So it's a great time. I love it.
I wanna get your thoughts on this current moment in women's basketball, because
Okay.
like you said, you've been here since high school, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Even
mhm,
before. So you've seen the products firsthand, are the product, you're part of the product, you're creating opportunities for women in this
mhm.
space, and on this show, we talk a lot to everyday athletes, so women who probably don't have any aspirations to go pro, but still want a way to play the game
Yeah.
and exercise and have an outlet for fitness and find community. And I think that right now, a lot of people in when they think about women's sports and women's basketball in particular, they're like, "Oh, this is a cash grab moment. This is a way time for me to invest. This is a time
Mhm,
for me to capitalize on, quite frankly, something that again has been there, but now for me feels like is worthy of an investment, worthy of my time and attention. If
mhm.
I don't necessarily care, like what you said, like there's a lot of people, bars maybe that are playing women's sports games. They don't care about elevating the game, but they care about
Right.
that are gonna come in and spend money on food and drinks while they watch the game. So I would love your opinion as someone who's growing this grassroots organization and being a part of it as a player who knows how high this can go and know how beautiful this game can be and intrinsically just sounds like you really love it. How you think of the money and attention that is coming to women's basketball right now.
I think there needs to be more. I'm happy to see the growth and the money put behind, but we need more. Like in the the maternity leave clause and anything they created, like women have been pregnant and having babies in the midst of being a professional athlete. And I'm happy that it finally came, but we have to push for more and do more. Put a daycare in the WNBA arenas so that the athletes can drop their kids off, give them a place to play while they play if they don't have a nanny. Like, I could run a list of things, but like, I'm glad that there are women's basketball players on the board for the W and things to try to help put things in perspective. But like, we need more. As you can see, I mean, my boys are my ball boys. And sometimes they don't even collect the balls at the game because they be everywhere.
That's hilarious.
So, what I want is for whoever's investing to truly care about the game because we are real life superheroes as women. And whether players have children or not, we go through a lot as just a female, period. So, yeah, we just need a lot more hearts and our investment in the right places. If you hear squealing in the background, it's him again. I do have a game. So in Durham. Sweet girl. If you come to the games, you'll see my children. Like my oldest right now, he has on his Raleigh Aces uniform and he wore it to school.
That's so cute. Then you have a game in Durham. Are you playing as a Raleigh Ace or are you doing something else?
Just playing as a player, but I did put the Raleigh Aces in the league. My mentor, she owns a league in Durham, which has multiple tiers to her league, 50 and up, 35 and up, traditional men's league, a women's league. She does it all. I contacted her when the idea came about of me owning my own summer league just for advice and loopholes to things that you would never think about. But to answer your initial question, the Raleigh Aces are in the league, but we are not called the Raleigh Aces. Yeah,
Okay.
I just didn't want people like, oh, the Raleigh Aces are playing. I don't want to play. We're called the Golden Girls. So you would never know.
That
I
is
know.
hilarious. So real quick before I let you go, since I've seen like 2 out of the 3 kids, but somebody missing, which is your husband. So when does he come
Yes.
into this journey and how has he been supportive of you continuing your love of basketball?
He's probably outside of my parents been my biggest support system. So after my first year playing pro, he was entering his first year. So we met that summer. He was going into his first year. I was going into my second. And we met in the YMCA because that's where I worked in the Y downtown during the summer, running pickup. I ran pickup so I could get a free membership and play basketball at the same time. So I did that and we met, dated, engagement. 6 weeks before our wedding, I delivered our first son. So we met, we had our oldest, Jay, and then we moved to Germany. I had no intentions on playing. And then we found out there was a women's team in Germany, same club and everything. And he's like, "Oh, you should play." So we went to one of their practices because I was hesitant. I'm like, Jason is 4 months old. I don't think so. And I nursed all my boys. So it's like my boobs are heavy with all this milk. I don't think so. And I played for two years and I would have to nurse my son at halftime, like in the locker room to the side, because I was just producing so much milk. And then he had separation anxiety. So to calm him down, that's what I would have to do. And sometimes Julian would be away for his games, but another wife of one of his teammates was really there to help me. And we're still friends to this day. So our village grew and it helped me be able to continue to play overseas. Wherever he signed to go, me and the boys would go with him. And two of our sons were born abroad, one in France, one in Italy. And after pregnancy and delivery, I would get back on the court in whatever country we were in. But once our summer league started, I had to start coming home early to like get the ball rolling on the summer league and prepare for that. So he's been my biggest support system, even when I didn't feel like I was good. He's like, "No, you still got it. Please shoot the ball." And he's still trying to push me. And I'm like, "My knees are hurting and giving all these body complaints." And he's like, "Girl, shoot the ball. That's one thing you've always been able to do, shoot." So yeah. But I love basketball. I love him and it's real loving basketball over here.
Lord have mercy, that is hilarious. My goodness. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully I can catch some of your games. We'll catch up after. But yeah, I wanna go to some of your games and see what's
Yeah, so my pro team is a really good team all over North Carolina. And our summer league is fun too because you just never know what you're going to get in the games, but they're all competitive because everybody wants to win. We would love to have you at either or both, whatever you're available for.
I'll be around Sunday, so hopefully I can catch something Sunday.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me for real.